I'm Harold Smith. But for today, I am Francis Marion, affectionately known as the Swamp Fox. Now, some people have said that I'm an American hero. Yeah. And you know that the American Revolutionary War was won right here in the South. And some will tell you that it's because of me and my men. But I'll let you be the judge. Now, in 1775, the first shots of the American Revolutionary War was sounded in Concord and Lexington, Massachusetts. That shot was heard around the world. And I heard it here in South Carolina. And I immediately went and joined the South Carolina 2nd Regiment here in Charleston, South Carolina. Now, the war lasted, well, for the first 4 years, it was a stalemate between George Washington and the British forces up there. All of you have heard of George Washington, Benjamin Franklin, all the people that were involved in the war. But the British decided on a southern strategy. Their southern strategy was to come and attack Charleston, conquer Charleston, conquer South Carolina, and then just move north, and then they would squeeze George Washington and capture and put down this ugly rebellion in the colony. That was their strategy. So, in May of 1780, the British conquered Charleston. They surrounded Charleston and captured 5,500 of our Continental Army. It was all that was in South Carolina. This was the darkest hour of South Carolina. All of our soldiers were captured. Their southern strategy was beginning to work. Now, I wasn't there, even though I was a captain of the South Carolina 2nd Regiment. I wasn't there, and it was God's providence that I wasn't there, because there was a bigger task and job for me to do. And I'll tell you what happened while I wasn't there. Some of my fellow officers, they had a drinking buddy, and the host locked the door. Well, I ain't much of a drinker, so I got kind of bored. I mean, they were having a good time, but I wasn't. So I wanted to leave. So I went out to the second story balcony, and I jumped off the balcony. So I went home to rest up. It was while I was resting up that the British came and conquered Charleston. So here I was. Charleston had been conquered. And it wasn't very long, on July 1st, Georgetown was conquered. And all of this area from Charleston to Georgetown, and you make a semicircle to Augusta, Georgia. All of this was under the control of the British. It was really a hard time. And here I was, alone. I had 20 men against all of the British Army. Plus, the reason they went on this southern strategy was that a third of the people here in South Carolina was still loyal to the king. The reason they were loyal to the king was they'd made a lot of money trading with the British people, with rice and indigo. This was one of the wealthiest places on earth, right here in South Carolina. So not only did I have to deal with the British Army, who had control of this whole area, plus I had to deal with these loyalists. They were called loyalists. They were loyal to the king, George. or some called them Tories. Either one, they referred to this group of people that were loyal and were fighting alongside the British. And here I am with 20 men. What can I do? Well, let me just tell you a little bit about me. There's a couple of things I want to tell you about. My family was French Huguenots. And we came to America to escape religious persecution. Because of our faith in Jesus, we were persecuted in France. So we had to flee, and my family had to come here seeking freedom. So I have deep roots in freedom. I know what it means to be free, and I want to be free. I don't want to be ruled by Britain. Me too. I grew up right here in Winyah Bay. Now I was born in Berkeley County, but at the age of 5 I moved here. Now, at the age 16 I was very adventurous. Pretty much like you guys. You want to try different things. I was going to be a sailor. So I joined this small crew of 6 guys, including myself, on a small boat, and we took off to West Indies. Well, on our way, guess what happened? A big old whale came, I think it was a humpback, rammed us and sunk our boat just like that. We were barely able to get on our lifeboats. We didn't have any water, any food. The boat dog, we had a dog on the boat. He swam up and he joined us on the lifeboat. Now, in public, I can't tell you what happened to that dog. But I will tell you, after 5 days, 2 of the men died. Remember, we didn't have any food, any water. After 7 days, we were finally rescued. The 4 men. I'm sorry, the dog did not make it. I'll leave it to your imagination what happened to the dog. It didn't make it. But that taught me a valuable lesson about survival. You got to do what you got to do to survive. Now the third thing. In 1760s, there was an uprising of the Indians and the French and Indian War was going on, and I joined the British forces. Right after this, there was a Cherokee War. The Cherokees rose up, and kind of the northern tip of South Carolina was Cherokee Indian territory. So I went up there to put down the Indian. I mean, they were killing civilians. So I went up there with the British Army, and we were going through this pass, and we suspected that there was going to be an ambush. So guess what? The general told me I had 30 men. He said, you go in the pass and kind of flush them out. And then once we know where they're at, we'll come in and support you. So here I go, leading 30 men into this narrow pass. And we're highly suspecting that Indians are there. But sure enough, they started shooting us. Man, I had men falling all around me. I didn't know what to do but just keep fighting. Out of the 30 men, 21 were killed or wounded. But we kept fighting. And finally, the British forces came up to support us. And we were able to hold the Indians off. We fought. We started at 8 a.m. in the morning. We fought until 12 noon. And then finally, it started turning in our favor. And the Indians finally retreated. But they surprised us. They were fighting behind trees. That was unheard of. You're supposed to come out and just stand there and shoot at one another. But the Indians didn't do that. They surprised us, hid behind trees, and man, they were hollering, acting crazy. So we overcome. Now I learned a valuable lesson there. I learned how the Indians fought. And I like the way they fought. better than just standing out in front of people and shooting. I like the way they surprise people and hit. So those are the things that I learned. So here I am in South Carolina. The British are under control of most of the state. Not only I got these neighbors who are loyal to the king that are hunting. So I leave with my 20 men and go up to North Carolina to meet with General Gates. General Gates, he's preparing to come to South Carolina and meet Lord Cornwallis head on. I said, no. Don't do that. I said, I've learned how to fight like the Indians fight. Let's just hit and run and use those type of techniques. Don't go up against this British Army head on. Well, he wouldn't listen to me. Finally, he got so angry with me, he sent me on a separate mission because he just wanted to get rid of me. He sent me down here to Santee River. And he says, now when I meet Lord Cornwallis and I defeat him, I want you to burn these boats. Burn these boats so he won't have any way to retreat through the Charles. So, I did. Well, General Gates took his army to Camden to meet Lord Cornwallis. And you know what happened? They got scared to death at the very sight of the redcoats. They turned and ran. In fact, General Gates turned and ran all the way back to North Carolina. Said he traveled 60 miles in 2 hours. It was a devastating loss. So here I was on the Santee River, burning boats. So here again, I'm all alone in South Carolina. Well, I'd heard from a deserter that Lord Cornwallis had sent a group of men with some prisoners, 150 prisoners. They were going back to Charleston. And they were going to have to cross the Santee River there at Nelson's Fair. That was a favorite crossing. So I decided, hey, that's my idea. So when they were camped there at Nelson's Fair, I attacked them while they were sleeping. And I got them on 3 sides. Now my principle was never completely surround them, always leaving one way to escape. So we survived the night, killed 23 of them, and the rest ran. And I freed the 150 prisoners. Well, I think this was the first time that Lord Cornwallis had ever heard of this. Francis Marion. So he sends out a death squad to capture me. 1,500 men, 12 different groups. They're going to capture me and get rid of this nuisance because their strategy is to completely control South Carolina. They got to control South Carolina. We had a fun time sharing my story, Francis Marion the Swamp Fox, in front of Whimsy Roost there in historic Georgetown. I want you to know that I did escape those 1,500 men who were searching to capture me. I escaped to North Carolina, went to the Great White Marsh area, just north of the Wilmington area, and stayed there about 2 weeks to let things calm down. And then I came back to South Carolina and continued my fight, me and my men, for independence and to defeat the Loyalists and the British here in South Carolina. Historians say that I was involved in 63 battles or skirmishes here in South Carolina. I was never captured. I was never wounded. We hid in the swamps during the day, and we attacked at night. One British officer says, he doesn't fight fair. He fights when soldiers should be sleeping. And we did attack at night. Sometimes we traveled 50 and 60 miles a night. Between the Santee River and the Pee River, they never knew where I would attack. I could show up anywhere, at any time. And we were able to be successful of defeating the southern strategy of the British. In fact, we were able to force them
totally out of this area. And after about a year, we were able to push all the loyalists, all the British troops back to Charleston. And we cut the British troops in Charleston, we cut off their support and supply lines to Cornwallis, who had moved on into North Carolina. And I do want to share probably the most famous story of all is how I got the name, the Swamp Fox. Lord Cornwallis really got frustrated with me. And so he told his cavalry commander, Bannister Tarleton, you capture Francis Marion. I'm tired of him disrupting our operations here in the South. So they set a trap for me. They set a big bonfire at night, trying to disguise a burning of a house, because that's what they were doing a lot. Trying to lure me in, and then he had his men in the woods ready for me to come in and to attack me. But I got wind. The son of the family who they were located at, he was able to escape, and he got to me and he warned me. So I retreated back, and so the next morning, Bannister Tarleton realized that I wasn't coming in, so he found out where I was at, and so he started chasing me. And so I took off into the swamps. That was where I hid. I had many hiding places. So we took off in the swamp. It was the Ox Swamp, right up in present-day Manning. And so Bannister Tarleton, he chased me for 6 hours, 6 or 7 hours. And finally he was heard say it. He said, whoa, boys, let's hold up. Says, the devil himself couldn't catch this old fox in his swamp. So from that point on, people referred to me as the Swamp Fox. And I carry that name proudly.
Utah Springs, after about a year of fighting, he finally gets some help from General Greene in North Carolina. And he finally gets some help from him. They attack this is the last battle, major battle in South Carolina. General Greene has so much confidence now in Francis Marion, because Francis Marion's victories have spread out. It's been a source of encouragement to all in the South, all of the troops, all the militias, all the volunteers. And he had run out all the loyalists between the Santee River and the PD River. He totally controlled this area. And with Utah Springs battle, he was able to have a victory there with the help of General Greene, but he led it. He pushed the British Army back to Charleston. And they stayed there. And this was their last assault in South Carolina. And of course you know what happens then, that Lord Cornwallis goes on into Virginia, but he didn't have any support from the South. The Southern strategy has been broken by Francis Marion. And so Lord Cornwallis basically went and broke away. He surrendered. But I'm here to tell you, it was a work of Francis Marion and my men that enabled that to happen. So destroyed his supply line. He could not get reinforcements. And that's my story. And that's the way it was back in the Revolution. And we gained our independence. Thank you.
Rotate over.
Go this way.
He'll be doing this different times. Are you from this area?
We're not, no.
Oh, yeah. So you're just traveling through?
Yeah, let's make
Well,
sure we
great.
story.
I don't know if he's going to do it again today or not, but
All right.